I own a business, I have pets. Yeah, definitely don't have time for bullshit. So the good news is I came into this world fully equipped to handle the truth, as did you. And if I trust in said equipment, then I can find that life will flow beautifully, but it's not always pretty. There's two things, well, there's more than two, but there's a couple of things that I've always believed. I've known in my bones, if you will. I've always known. The first is that our bodies, these bodies that we've been given to live this life in, are wildly miraculous and powerful and even holy. And the second is that beyond the physical, we are all connected. I always believed this, but I didn't know it. I didn't have personal proof of it until I lived through the birth of my son and the death of my father. So I'm going to take you there. Okay, let me go back to when I found out, or when we found out, my husband is here, that we were having a boy. So we have this little ultrasound, and I kind of knew it was a boy. I would have been surprised if they said it was a girl, and they said, oh, it's a boy. I thought, oh, yeah, okay. We go back to work, and I go back to work. I can't concentrate at work. I'm having a boy. So I can't focus, so I just go home. Tell my boss, I'm not feeling well, I'm going to go home. So I go home, and I'm leaning at my kitchen counter, and my husband comes home, and he looks at me, and he's like, are you okay? I'm fine. He says, okay. And he goes down to the basement to get something. Probably 2 minutes, and he comes back up to a sobbing wife on the counter. Now I'm just like, oh, it's a boy. I don't know anything about boys. I teach girls. I have sisters. I don't know anything about soccer. And what's worse, I'm already a terrible mother because he knows. And that was when I realized my body is doing this with or without me. So maybe I should just get out of the way. And then I noticed more and more things along the way that made me say, wow. But before the wow in a good way came the, what the hell? Like, if you've had a baby, you maybe remember when your uterus starts expanding, and it feels like an alien is trying to push out of your stomach, and you're just like going, what the hell? And I'm again reminded, my body is just doing this. It's doing what it needs to do to grow this boy. It is amazing. It takes me to, a few months later when I'm really close to his due date, and I'm running down the stairs at work, and I'm starting to feel all these things flapping around down here. And I'm like, what, are you kidding me? What is that? That's my body getting ready to produce this child. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is like gross. Okay. So now let's go to the moment, that due date that came and went. And he sat. And another day passed, and another day passed, and then a week passed, and then 2 weeks passed. And then I had to have an ultrasound because it was 2 weeks past, and he was still there. And this is what we saw in our ultrasound. And the radiologist said, wow, he looks comfortable. And I thought, yeah, sure does. And I was thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Come on, it's been, and so a couple more days passed, and another day passed. So 2.5 weeks now past that due date, and he decided it was time. So off to Mercy we went, and I was all ready to have a water birth, and I had done my research, and I watched these beautiful water births, and they were beautiful, and the women were so calm. And it was so quiet, it was so peaceful, and just, it was awesome, and I was going to do that. That's what I was doing. Okay. So I get in the tub, and they're already saying, you are such a trooper, because I got pretty far on my own there with everything, so okay, great. So I get in the tub, and I'm thinking, quiet, and my sister's on one side, and my husband's on the other, and our midwife is there, and the nurses were wonderful. It was so great, but nothing was happening. And my sister said, I think you should yell. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not yelling. She said, it really helps. Just once. Just yell one time. And I was like, no, not having that kind of birth. And my midwife said, she's right, you know. You don't have to scream. Just growl a little. You know. So I tried it. And good Lord, you would have think the Tasmanian devil came into the room, because after that, it was all, and my husband was so committed, and as was I, to our hypnobirthing techniques, where there's no pain, there's just pressure. There are surges in pressure. That's all. And I was so happy because he was such a good partner, but there was this moment. It was this moment. And my mother-in-law, it's my mother-in-law's favorite picture, because I had photographs, of course, who wouldn't want that at your birth? And there's a picture of me holding on to my husband's shirt and looking into his eyes so lovingly, and she just loves that picture because she says, oh, you both look so wonderful and so in love, and little does she know that what I was saying to him at that moment was, honey, I appreciate your commitment to our hypnobirthing, but right now, this really hurts. So stop calling it pressure! And he said, okay. Right? So, I'm going to take us away from that birth for a minute and fast forward 5 years to my father's death. He got a blood disorder, and we did everything we could. Doctors did everything they could, and they tried everything, and then nothing was working. So they said to him in the hospital, look, we can keep doing this, and you can stay here, and you can continue to live this way, or you can go home. And if you go home, you'll die within 7 days. And he said, take me home. So we did. And hospice came, and I kept being told, you're so lucky to have this time. It's such a beautiful time. And I thought to myself, I hate this. This isn't beautiful to me. This is horrible, and this is ugly. And I feel like there's something wrong with me, that I can't find the beauty in this time. Honesty was what I was looking for. What I would have liked to have heard was, this is going to be horrible and ugly, but you can get through it. Yeah. And when it's done, you'll be glad that you had that time. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't getting that message. I found it myself when I let myself cry in front of my dad, because I didn't right away, because we were taking care of him in this struggle to leave his body that wasn't serving him anymore. So it was important to me to stay strong. But there was one moment, he was in and out of consciousness for that 7 days, and one time that he was out, and I climbed on the bed with him and laid down with him, and I started to cry, and he came to with clarity. And he touched my cheek, and he said, what's this? What's this? And I said, Dad, I love you. And even though I'm going to be okay, I'm going to miss you. And he stroked my hair, and he touched my face, and then he, went quiet again. So he died a couple of days later. I had the privilege of writing his eulogy and giving his eulogy, and today I am grateful for that time, and it was beautiful today, but not then. And a few months after he died in August, and in late November, I was having a little pity party for myself and walking my dog and thinking, you know, everybody talks about signs. They always get signs. Where's my sign? I haven't seen a sign. I want a sign that my Father is with me. I want a sign. And I was just you know, poor me, walking. And we had already had a frost. It was really cold. Nothing was blooming anymore. And I'm walking along angry. And I look down. And if I hadn't looked down, I would have tripped over it. A single black-eyed Susan in full bloom in my path. They don't grow like that, first of all. And they don't grow after frost has killed everything. But there it was, my Father's favorite flower. And then I looked up and I went, thanks. And I thought, never mind. Okay. But there was my proof of our connection. There was my proof of our connection. So I'm going to go back now to my son's birth, meaning the moment that he actually came on out, right? And he did that really actually smoothly. You know, I did get to that point where I thought, oh my God, I am going to die. I cannot do this. And come to find out later, wish I'd known then, come to find out later that midwives and doctors, they wait for that moment, because when the mom feels like she's going to die, they know the baby's coming right next. Okay? That means the baby's coming, so I thought, I would have loved to have known that. Okay. So that moment came, and he came out, and it was a water birth. It was very smooth. He didn't even cry right away. He was looking around. It was beautiful. And put him in my arms, and then he looked around, and then he just let out this yell. And I looked at him and I said, I know, honey, I think it sucks sometimes too. And that was my first promise to him, to live life honestly, trusting that he was fully equipped to handle the truth, and that it would unfold beautifully.